Glad to meet you all in this video. Today we will learn the summary of the lesson, A Havoc of Flood. This means the mass destruction, the heavy damage, heavy destruction, devastation caused due to the floods. Floods means heavy water, so much of water that it inundates the houses. That is called as flood. The overflow of rivers also you can, because of rain, is called as floods. Right? Today we will see what happened in the city of Kurnool. Right? Kurnool, a district with rock soil in Andhra Pradesh in the Krishna River Basin, is known as the land of rocky temples in Rayalaseema region. There are many temples in this region, so tourists and pilgrims keep paying frequent visits over there. So there is always a hustle and bustle in the area, and many people make their business over there, selling their wares, selling their goods, putting up stalls, selling certain things to the tourists. They make their living over there. But on 28th of September 2009, no tourists visited the city from any part of the state. Why? What happened? On the 27th September 2009, the city had a heavy rainfall. And how heavy was the rain? As a result, on 28th September 2009, the people of Kurnool had to welcome river waters in gloomy means sad, in gloomy colors to their state. Instead of tourists, they had to welcome the flood waters. As they got up from their sleep, they saw the flood waters inundating, entering into their houses, and their hopes of making a bright business on the next day was all shattered. There was no business out there because the entire city was immersed in water. Everything was submerged in water. At 10 a.m., the Central Water Commission forecast means tell in advance, predict, forecast that the inflows to the Sri Salem Dam would go up to an enormous means huge, level of 20 lakh cusecs of water, the highest in its history. Posing means making a threat, means a danger. So here the Central Water Commission has alerted them, has warned them, telling that the water level is going to be very high, the highest in its history, and this is going to be a danger for the people. And this way the people got alert. They made arrangements to escape the devastating situation. By the noon of the day, people bore the brunt of the flood fury. Bore the brunt means they had to undergo, they had to face the anger of the floods. They had to bear the consequences of the floods, as the flood water reached the first story of several buildings. And look at the level of the water. It has reached the first story. That means the first floor of every building. That much level, that much water had filled the entire city. And there were heart-rending scenes. Heart-rending means very sympathetic scenes, very pitiable scenes of people frantically, restlessly. They are all seeking assistance to rescue them. Assistance means help. Rescue means to save. So those who were all affected by this flood waters, the water entering their houses, they were all helplessly running here and there, thinking someone would help them. People had never experienced before such a trauma. Trauma means such a tragic situation, such a distressful situation, such a helpless situation. They have never faced, nor did they face any loss of property as much as this one. And then, but the government did not have sufficient number of boats. In order to rescue the people, the government should have some boats to take them to the safer regions, but the government did not have those many boats. The authorities estimated that 40,000 people had taken shelter on the rooftops because the water had got filled up in their houses. They all went to the rooftops that you can see in the picture near the picture reading. They all all went to the rooftops, that is a terrace, and they were seeking someone's help. The floods inundated means entered about 60 villages. It had immersed or submerged 60 villages, many of them completely submerged. They're all into the water. Much of the misery means trouble, was caused by the Tungabhadra and Handri Niva rivers, tributaries of Krishna. And more than this trouble, adding to this trouble was the overflow of those tributaries also. Several places were under the sheet of 10 feet of water for 4 days. For 4 days the water did not drain. It was as it was, and the people had to undergo the misery. Then the government was forced to seek the help of army. So as the situation wasn't under control, the government went to ask the help of army and the navy, who are always ready to help the people in need. And one of the IAF pilots or helicopters, they were requisition means requested, that is government went and requested the Indian Air Force, and they had granted the helicopters. And one of the helicopters among them had rescued 15 farmers who were trapped means who were completely into a helpless situation in a swollen stream means the stream has started flowing very fast because of the overflowing water, and they had rescued the farmers. And then the Sunkasula barrage across the Tungabhadra breached means cracks appeared on it at two places because the heavy water, the pressure increased, and there were cracks in the barrage. And 30 relief camps means some arrangements made by the government, wherein the food, some clothing and the shelter are provided to the victims of the floods. This is called as a relief camp. 30 relief camps were opened in Kurnool to provide food and shelter to at least 25,000 people. Rendered homeless means these all people had lost their homes. They were all submerged, inundated or washed away in the floods, and then many people lost everything. And the government even requisition means requested the disaster management force from Arakonam, our neighboring state Tamil Nadu, and a transport aircraft, 30 inflatable boats. Inflatable boats means they are, if you blow air into it, it becomes the air gets filled up and it becomes like a boat. Generally you see the pillows and all, when we go for journeys we take inflatable, that can be made flat and folded, and afterwards we can fill the air like balloon and we can use as a pillow. That is what is called inflatable boats. If you remove the air from that, it becomes a flat one. Like that, 30 inflatable boats and an equal number of fiberglass boats. These were all provided. Although water rose, past tense rose. Although water rose to roof level, people were reluctant. Reluctant means not willing to leave their houses and were still groping. Groping means searching for their valuables, because with great difficulty they had earned and saved and bought those valuables. They were not ready to come out. The pathetic plight. The pathetic means very sympathetic, or the horrible situation was that of the people of the villages. They all hurried to the safer places for their lives, leaving everything they had, their house, their cattle, everything they left, and they were all running for their lives. If they stay there anymore, they would lose their lives. So they were all running helter and skelter over there. And then poor cows and calves, buffaloes and bullocks, all these domestic animals had to die because they were fastened. Fastened means tied. They had been tied in the sheds, and people, they themselves were in a trouble situation and running to save their lives. They could not untie them. They could not leave those untie the rope and go. They all ran for their lives, and these cattle were the victims of this, they all died. They were all drowned in the water, flood waters. The grief-struck people stood aghast at the paddy fields. Grief-struck means the sad people, the gloomy people, the grieving people. They all looked extremely sad, and they did not have any words to speak. They were all aghast. They were in a shocked situation when they saw the paddy fields which were about to be reaped. That is the harvest time. At that time, these floods have come and all the crops are destroyed, and what will be their future? This thought made them completely stuck up. They could not think of anything else. They were in a state of shock and grief. The government officials and voluntary organizations that arrived at the spot witnessed the badly damaged. So the government authorities and all, they came and witnessed what is the damage, how much the people are affected, and what are all the measures that have to be taken to rehabilitate their lives. The government sent relief teams as early as possible. Relief teams, in the sense group of people sent to the affected areas in order to rescue the people and bring them to a safer place. That is the relief team. And to distribute the emergency relief supplies like food, drinking water and clothing among the flood survivors. Flood survivors means after the flood, many of them are placed here and there, and some of them lose their lives, some of them are injured, and then whoever is in living, so them they would provide them with all this food, drinking and clothing and help them survive. Thousands were misplaced. That means they had lost their way because of the floods. All of them needed drinking water and food. They were all hungry and thirsty. As soon as they saw the relief teams, their joy knew no bounds. Then joy knew no bounds means they were extremely happy. There is no boundary for the happiness. That much happy they were. A sigh of relief rejuvenated. Rejuvenated means renewed their faces. Till now, as they were sad and gloomy, the face has lost its charm. They were all lifeless faces. Their faces are all hung up with grief. And as soon as they saw the relief teams, they were all very happy. The people were given food, bed sheets, lungis and all. They were very happy and very grateful to them. And one of the sufferers of the flood was a widow who was just 40 years old, and she had to undergo the trauma of the floods, where her 4 children had to flee. Flee means run away for shelter to a roadside situated above water level. Her hut collapsed in the rain, so they have to go for a level place wherein they can be secure. So the woman had taken her 4 children and she had gone to the roadside, but there again she had to look at them for hungry and thirsty for 2 days, and this was really very pathetic for a mother to watch her children like that. And the relief team brought her and her 4 children to a flood relief distribution camp, which was being organized by the government in Kurnool. There she received all her necessary things for a survival, and they even provide some rice and pants. That is, they are helping her to get rehabilitated again, get into her normal life. She doesn't have a husband, she needs someone who should help. And these great souls, these philanthropists, these kind-hearted people had rendered, they had contributed whatever they could and helped her rehabilitate her life. They also constructed a temporary shed for the family. She expressed a gratitude, thankfulness with a beaming face. Beaming means happy face, saying that she would remain ever thankful for the help she received. Help always pays gratitude. So this lesson, we have it in our syllabus so that we can know the value of timely help. Whenever people are in distress, whenever someone is in a needy situation, never lose that opportunity to help them, because God in heaven looks at at each thing that we do, and He blesses us accordingly, and He blesses in abundance to those who give generously. Hence, whenever there is a situation like this, donate generously. Thank you and have a nice day. Please leave a comment in the comment box. Thank you and have a great day.